The woman who carries her pain in silence, a woman standing alone, not because she is without allies, but because she chooses solitude as her sanctuary. This is the woman who carries her pain in silence. Her strength does not announce itself, it simply is. Her world may not understand the depth of her quiet resolve, but she does not seek understanding from it. True strength is not always loud or visible. Often it is found in places that many overlook, in gestures that go unnoticed, and in the quiet endurance of those who bear their struggles in silence. The woman who carries her pain in silence is not weak, on the contrary. She is an embodiment of resilience, a force of nature quietly shaping her world. She may not speak of her burdens, but in her stillness lies a strength that echoes louder than words ever could. Imagine a woman standing alone, not because she is without allies, but because she chooses solitude as her sanctuary. This is the woman who carries her pain in silence. Her strength does not announce itself, it simply is. Her world may not understand the depth of her quiet resolve, but she does not seek understanding from it. Imagine the weight she carries, often unseen by others. It could be the sorrow of a broken dream, the ache of unspoken words, or the relentless trials that life has placed before her. Yet she does not allow her pain to define her. Instead, she chooses to carry it with a quiet grace that many would find unimaginable. Her silence is not a sign of submission or defeat. It is her sanctuary, a space where she gathers her strength and finds clarity amid the noise of the world. In a society that often equates volume with power, we overlook the profound influence of those who act and endure without seeking recognition. The woman who carries her pain in silence does not look for applause or sympathy. She does not use her suffering as a tool to gain attention or pity. Instead, she trusts the process of life, knowing that her resilience is not dependent on external validation. Her strength comes from within, where no one can diminish or take it away. Her silence does not mean she is untouched by her pain. Far from it. She feels every moment of it deeply, profoundly, but she also understands that her response to pain is where her power lies. Rather than allowing herself to be consumed by despair, she chooses to transform her pain into something greater. She channels it into action, into kindness, into growth. In doing so, she becomes an example of what it means to rise above circumstances, to refuse to let life's hardships extinguish the light within her. There is something sacred about the way she navigates her struggles. Her silence is not empty. It is filled with resolve, reflection, and an unshakable belief in her ability to endure. It is in these quiet moments that she builds herself anew. Each tear shed in solitude, each sleepless night spent wrestling with her fears, each silent prayer whispered into the void, these are not signs of weakness, but of a deep inner transformation. Through these moments, she learns, she grows, and she emerges stronger than before. Her strength is often misunderstood by those who do not take the time to see beyond the surface. To some, her silence may appear as apathy, her endurance as passivity. But to truly understand her is to recognize that her strength is in the choice she makes every single day, the choice to carry on, to hold her head high, and to face life with courage despite the pain she bears. It is a choice that requires an extraordinary amount of willpower and determination. The impact of her quiet strength extends far beyond herself. Though she may not seek to inspire others, she often does so without even realizing it. Those who are fortunate enough to witness her journey are moved by her resilience. Her ability to carry her pain with dignity and grace becomes a beacon of hope for those who face their own struggles. She shows them that it is possible to endure, to persevere, and to thrive even in the face of adversity. She does not seek recognition for her strength. She does not carry her pain in silence because she wants to be seen as heroic or admirable. She does it because it is who she is. It is her way of navigating a world that is often harsh and unforgiving. It is her way of honoring her own journey, of staying true to herself and of finding meaning in the midst of difficulty. The woman who carries her pain in silence is a reminder to all of us that strength does not always announce itself. It does not always roar or demand attention. Sometimes it is quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. But make no mistake, her strength is no less powerful because of its quiet nature. If anything, it is more profound, for it is rooted in a resilience that cannot be shaken and a courage that refuses to waver. She carries a strength that is transformative, both for herself and for those around her. And while the world may not always see or understand the depth of her struggle, her quiet strength leaves an indelible mark on all who are touched by her presence. Silence is often misunderstood. To some, it is perceived as emptiness or withdrawal, a void where words should be. Yet for the woman who carries her pain in silence, it is anything but. Her silence is not a sign of weakness or retreat. It is her fortress, a place of refuge where she gathers her strength. It is in this quiet space that she shields herself from the chaos of the world, protecting her spirit while she processes the weight of her struggles. This silence is a conscious choice, a deliberate act of self-preservation. It allows her to create a boundary between herself and a world that often demands explanations, solutions, and visibility for every emotion.
Instead of laying her soul bare to judgment or pity, she holds her pain close, treating it as something sacred and personal. Within her silence, she has the freedom to navigate her journey without interference, criticism, or misunderstanding.
It is her fortress, but it is also her sanctuary, a space that belongs entirely to her. Her silence is not empty. It is filled with thought, reflection, and the quiet hum of resilience. Within its walls, she is free to confront her emotions on her own terms. She may cry, she may question, she may even feel moments of despair, but it is here in this protected space that she also finds clarity and strength. By turning inward, she learns to listen to herself, to understand her pain, and to honor her journey without the noise of outside opinions clouding her vision. This silence is powerful because it is hers. It is not imposed upon her by anyone else, nor is it a result of shame or fear. Instead, it is a choice she makes to reclaim her autonomy. In a world that often demands people expose their vulnerabilities for validation or acknowledgement, she chooses a different path. She knows that her worth is not tied to how others perceive her or how much of her pain she makes visible. Her silence becomes a declaration of her independence, a reminder that she does not owe anyone access to her inner world. There is strength in choosing silence, particularly in a society that values outward expressions of emotion and strength. It takes courage to retreat into oneself, to face pain without seeking external distractions or validation. The woman who carries her pain in silence understands this courage deeply. She knows that healing is not always loud or linear. It is often a quiet, personal journey that unfolds in its own time. Her silence also serves as a shield, protecting her from the world's tendency to diminish or misunderstand her experiences. Too often, pain is met with platitudes, judgments, or unhelpful advice. By keeping her pain within her fortress, she spares herself from the added burden of explaining, defending, or justifying her emotions. Her silence allows her to retain control over her story, ensuring that it is hers to tell or not tell when she is ready. But silence is not only about protection, it is also about transformation. Within the stillness of her fortress, she begins to heal. She finds moments of peace amid the chaos, moments of strength amid the sorrow. She learns to sit with her pain, to understand it, and to ultimately rise above it. In this way, her silence is not just a shield, it is also a crucible, a place where she forges a stronger, wiser version of herself. This transformation is not always visible to the outside world, but its effects are profound. The woman who emerges from her fortress is not the same as the one who entered it. Her silence has allowed her to process her pain and transform it into wisdom, resilience, and compassion. It has given her the space to heal on her own terms, in her own way, without the pressure of external expectations. Her silence also carries an unspoken strength that resonates with those around her. Even without words, her presence can inspire others to find their own strength. Her ability to endure, to protect her inner world, and to transform her pain becomes a quiet beacon of hope for those who are watching. She does not seek to inspire, but she does so nonetheless simply by being herself. Her silence is not avoided, it is a space filled with purpose, power, and potential. It is her fortress, her sanctuary, and her crucible. It is where she protects herself, heals herself, and transforms herself. And though the world may not always understand her choice, she knows that her silence is her strength, and within it lies the power to overcome anything. The mind is a boundless realm of possibilities. For the woman who carries her pain without a word, her silence does not equate to stillness or passivity. Within her quiet exterior lies a vibrant inner world where imagination becomes her greatest refuge and most powerful tool. While her circumstances might seem limiting, her mind knows no boundaries, and it is through this creative power that she begins to craft a vision of herself beyond her pain. Imagination is not merely a flight of fancy for her, it is a lifeline, a mechanism for survival and transformation. In the depths of her struggle, she taps into her ability to envision a reality different from her current experience. Her pain may be heavy, but her mind allows her to rise above it, to see beyond the present moment, and to connect with a version of herself that is free, whole, and empowered. This vision does not come from wishful thinking, but from a profound belief in her capacity to evolve and grow. Through imagination, she begins to redefine her pain. No longer is it just a burden to be carried, it becomes a part of her story that shapes her resilience and strength. In her silence, she envisions the lessons her pain is teaching her, the wisdom it is revealing, and the person she is becoming because of it. Her ability to reframe her struggle allows her to transform it into a source of power rather than a source of despair. This transformation begins in her mind, where the seeds of change are planted long before they take root in her external reality. Her imagination also serves as a source of hope, a beacon that guides her through the darkest moments. Even when the weight of her pain feels unbearable, her mind offers her glimpses of what lies beyond it. She imagines a day when her heart feels light again, when her wounds have healed, and when she can look back on her struggles with pride for having endured them. These visions are not just fantasies, they are acts of faith, affirmations of her belief in the possibility of better days. Her imagination becomes an act of defiance against her circumstances. It allows her to resist the temptation to succumb to despair, to see herself not as a victim of her pain, but as its master. Her silence may shield her from the world, but her imagination propels her forward, showing her that she is not defined by what she endures, but by how she chooses to respond to it. She may be quiet on the outside, but within her, there is a symphony of creativity and resilience that cannot be silenced. This creative power does not just benefit her, it also ripples outward, influencing those around her. Even without speaking of her struggles, she becomes an example of the power of the human spirit to rise above adversity. Her ability to imagine a brighter future inspires others to do the same, to look beyond their own pain and to believe in their capacity to overcome. Though her silence may seem isolating, her inner strength creates connections that are felt on a deeper level. Her imagination also allows her to stay connected to her dreams, even when life feels overwhelming. While pain might threaten to dull her aspirations, her mind keeps them alive, nurturing them in the quiet spaces of her heart. She envisions herself achieving her goals, living a life of joy and purpose, and becoming the person she was meant to be. These dreams give her a sense of direction and motivation, reminding her that her pain is temporary and that her future is full of potential. Through her imagination, she creates not only a vision of herself, but also a vision of the world she wants to live in. She dreams of a world where strength is recognized in all its forms, where silence is respected as much as speech, and where people are free to heal on their own terms. In this way, her inner world becomes a source of hope, not just for herself, but for the collective. Her ability to imagine something greater inspires a belief in the possibility of change, both within and beyond her. She does not escape reality, she reimagines it. Her mind becomes a canvas on which she paints a picture of resilience, hope, and transformation. While her pain may shape her present, it does not define her future, and it is through her imagination that she begins to bridge the gap between the two. In her quiet strength lies a profound truth that the power to transcend pain starts from within, and that even in the depths of silence, the soul can soar to unimaginable heights. Pain is a universal experience, but how we choose to handle it determines its effect on our lives. For the woman who carries her pain in silence, there is no grand display of suffering, no outpouring of emotion for the world to witness. Instead, she internalizes her struggles, not as a form of suppression, but as a deeply personal process of transformation. She understands that pain, when embraced rather than resisted, holds the potential to be a catalyst for growth, a crucible through which she becomes something greater than she was before. Her silence does not mean she is unscathed by her pain. She feels its sharpness, its heaviness, and its relentless grip. But rather than allowing it to overwhelm her, she chooses to sit with it, to face it honestly and courageously. In this quiet space, she begins the delicate process of alchemy, transforming her pain into wisdom, strength, and resilience. This is not an easy journey, nor is it a quick one. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to confront the deepest parts of herself. She knows is not the enemy. It is a messenger, a teacher, and an opportunity for transformation. In her silence, she listens to what her pain is trying to tell her. Perhaps it speaks of unmet needs, unresolved emotions, or lessons she has yet to learn. By approaching her pain with curiosity rather than resistance, she opens herself to the possibility of growth. She recognizes that pain is not something to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a natural part of the human experience. This perspective requires a shift in how she views herself and her circumstances. Instead of seeing her pain as a sign of weakness or failure, she begins to see it as a source of power. Each moment of endurance, every tear shed in solitude, becomes a testament to her strength. She learns that her capacity to feel deeply is not a flaw, but a gift, a reminder of her humanity and her ability to connect with others on a profound level. Through this process, she begins to uncover the hidden gifts of her pain. Perhaps it teaches her patience, empathy, or the value of stillness. Perhaps it helps her to develop a deeper sense of self-awareness or to cultivate a stronger relationship with herself. Whatever the lessons may be, she embraces them with gratitude, knowing that they are shaping her into a more resilient and compassionate person. Her silence becomes a sanctuary where this transformation can take place, free from the distractions and judgments of the outside world. The alchemy of pain is not about erasing or forgetting what she has been through. It is about integrating her experiences into her identity in a way that empowers her rather than diminishes her. Her pain becomes a part of her story, but it is not the whole story. She is not defined by her suffering, but by how she chooses to respond to it. In this way, her silence is not an act of avoidance, but a declaration of agency. It is her way of reclaiming her narrative and deciding how her pain will shape her future. This transformation does not happen in isolation. Though her journey is deeply personal, it has a ripple effect that extends to those around her. Her ability to endure and grow through her pain inspires others to do the same. Her quiet strength becomes a beacon of hope, showing others that it is possible to face hardship with grace and emerge stronger on the other side. Even without speaking of her struggles, she communicates a powerful message that pain is not the end, but a beginning. In her silence, she also develops a profound connection with herself. By turning inward, she learns to trust her own instincts and to rely on her own strength. She becomes her own source of comfort, wisdom, and encouragement. This self-reliance is not about isolation, but about empowerment. She discovers that she is capable of facing anything life throws her way, not because she is invincible, but because she is willing to grow. The alchemy of pain is a process of transformation, one that turns suffering into strength, wounds into wisdom, and silence into power. It is not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one. The woman who carries her pain in silence understands this on a deep level. She knows that her pain is not a curse, but a gift, one that has the potential to shape her into the person she was always meant to be. And though the world may not see the depth of her transformation, she feels it in every fiber of her being. Her silence, far from being a void, is a sacred space where the alchemy of her soul takes place, turning her pain into gold. Silence is often regarded as the absence of expression, yet for the woman who carries her pain in silence, it is far from empty. Her silence is rich with meaning and speaks a hidden language of strength, resilience, and endurance. While the world might mistake her quietness for passivity or weakness, those who truly listen can sense the depth of her inner power. Each silent moment is not an absence, but a presence, one that conveys her unyielding spirit in ways that words never could. When she chooses silence, she is not surrendering, she is recalibrating. Her silence becomes a tool for preservation, a way to conserve her energy and direct it inward. Rather than expending her strength explaining, defending, or sharing her pain with a world that may not fully understand, she holds it within herself, knowing that her worth is not dependent on external validation. Her silence speaks of a deep self-reliance, a profound trust in her ability to navigate her own struggles without the need for applause or acknowledgement. There is a raw, understated power in this approach. In the face of pain, many are compelled to express their struggles outwardly, seeking comfort or solidarity. While this is valid and valuable, the woman who chooses silence walks a different path. She internalizes her journey, building a quiet resilience that becomes unshakable. Her silence says, "I will endure this and I will do so on my own terms." It is a declaration of autonomy, a refusal to let her pain become a spectacle or a currency for sympathy. Her silence also communicates a profound understanding of the transient nature of pain. She knows that no matter how heavy her burdens may feel in the moment, they will not last forever. This belief allows her to carry her pain without allowing it to define her. Her silence then is not just a shield, but also a message to herself that she is stronger than her circumstances, that she will endure, and that she will rise. It is a testament to her ability to maintain hope, even in the darkest moments. The hidden language of her silence extends beyond herself. Though she may not speak of her struggles, her strength is palpable to those who take the time to see her fully. Her quiet endurance becomes an unspoken source of inspiration, a reminder that there are many ways to be strong. Without uttering a word, she shows others that strength is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is found in the quiet moments of perseverance, in the refusal to give up, even when no one else is watching. Her silence also reflects her wisdom. She understands that words can sometimes diminish the depth of what she is experiencing, reducing her complex emotions to simple statements that fail to capture their essence. By remaining silent, she preserves the integrity of her journey, allowing herself the space to process her pain in its full complexity. Her silence is not a void, but a container for her thoughts, emotions, and reflections, a space where she can make sense of her experiences without the interference of external noise. This hidden language is not only about strength and resilience, it is also about grace. Her silence is a form of grace in the way she carries herself, the way she interacts with the world despite her struggles. She does not allow her pain to harden her heart or embitter her spirit. Instead, she approaches life with quiet dignity, showing kindness to others even when she is hurting. Her silence becomes a bridge, connecting her pain to her compassion, reminding her that while she suffers, she is not alone in her humanity. Her choice to remain silent is also a way of protecting herself. She knows that not everyone will understand or respect the depth of her pain, and she chooses not to expose herself to judgment or pity. In this way, her silence becomes a boundary, a way to keep her inner world safe while she heals. It is not an indication of isolation, but of discernment, a recognition that her energy is precious and that not everyone is entitled to her vulnerability. The hidden language of her silence is one of resilience, grace, and unspoken power. It is a language that cannot be easily translated into words, but is deeply felt by those who pay attention. Her silence communicates that she is more than her pain, that she is navigating her journey with courage and dignity, and that she will emerge stronger on the other side. It is a reminder that strength does not always need to be shouted. Sometimes it is most profound when it is simply lived. The woman who carries her pain in silence knows a truth that many overlook. Vulnerability is not synonymous with weakness. Instead, vulnerability is a profound source of strength, a courageous act of embracing one's humanity. For her, the choice to remain silent is not an attempt to deny her vulnerability, but a testament to her ability to hold space for it in her own way. She understands that being vulnerable does not mean exposing herself to the world indiscriminately. It means allowing herself to feel deeply, even in solitude, and finding strength in that experience. Her silence is a sacred acknowledgement of her vulnerability. She does not pretend that she is unaffected by her pain or that she is invincible in the face of hardship. Instead, she allows herself to sit with her emotions, to feel the full weight of her struggles, and to process them with honesty and compassion. This act requires immense courage, for it is far easier to distract oneself or to bury difficult emotions than to confront them head on. Yet she chooses to remain present with her pain, trusting that within it lies the key to her growth. In her silence, she learns to honor her emotions without judgment. She recognizes that her tears are not a sign of failure, but a release, a way for her heart to make space for healing. She knows that her moments of doubt, fear, or sadness do not diminish her strength, but are integral parts of her journey. By allowing herself to be vulnerable, she creates a space where transformation can occur, a space where she can move from pain to understanding, from sorrow to resilience. Her vulnerability also deepens her connection to herself. In the quiet moments of her struggle, she comes to know herself in ways that few ever do. She discovers the contours of her strength, the depths of her courage, and the capacity of her heart to endure. She learns to trust her own instincts, to rely on her inner wisdom, and to find solace in her own company. Her silence becomes a form of self-love, a way of nurturing herself and respecting the sacredness of her journey. Though her vulnerability is expressed in private, it radiates outward in powerful ways. It is not something she broadcasts, yet those around her can sense it in her quiet strength, her empathy, and her ability to hold space for others. Her willingness to embrace her own humanity allows her to connect with the humanity of others. She does not have to speak of her pain to understand the struggles of those around her. Her experiences have given her a profound sense of compassion that transcends words. Her silence, then, is not about hiding her vulnerability, but about protecting it. She understands that vulnerability is a gift, one that must be shared with care and intention. By choosing not to expose her pain to the world indiscriminately, she safeguards her energy and ensures that her healing remains a deeply personal process. Her silence is not a barrier, but a boundary, a way of saying that her journey is hers alone to navigate. Yet, even as she protects her vulnerability, she does not wall herself off from the world. On the contrary, her ability to hold space for her own emotions makes her more attuned to the emotions of others. She becomes a quiet force of understanding, someone who can offer support without judgment or expectation. Her vulnerability, embraced in silence, becomes a source of strength not only for herself but for those around her. This delicate balance between vulnerability and strength is a testament to her wisdom. She knows that true strength is not about denying one's pain or pretending to be unaffected by life's challenges. It is about facing them with courage, embracing the fullness of one's emotions, and finding a way to grow through them. Her silence allows her to embody this truth, to live it fully and authentically, even if no one else can see it. Her choice to embrace her vulnerability in silence is an act of profound courage. It is a recognition that pain is not something to be feared, but something to be felt, understood, and transformed. It is an acknowledgement of her humanity, a declaration of her resilience, and a reminder that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the willingness to face it with an open heart. In her silence, she carries the quiet power of someone who has learned to honor her vulnerability, and in doing so, she discovers a strength that is unshakable. The woman who carries her pain in silence possesses a remarkable ability to endure life's hardships with grace. Her silence is not an absence of emotion, but a deliberate act of restraint and inner fortitude. It is a testament to her unwavering strength, the kind of strength that is forged in the crucible of adversity and tempered by resilience. She knows that strength is not about being untouched by life's challenges, but about meeting them head on, even in solitude, and refusing to let them define her. She finds a power that transcends words. While the world often equates strength with boldness or visible displays of resilience, she redefines it through her quiet perseverance. Her strength lies not in the loud declarations of her struggles, but in her ability to rise each day, carry her burdens with dignity, and continue forward despite the weight she bears. Her silence is her armor, a way of preserving her energy and channeling it toward the work of healing and growth. This strength is not something she was born with, it is something she has cultivated through experience. Every hardship she has faced, every obstacle she has overcome has contributed to her resilience. Her silence is not a denial of her struggles, but an acknowledgement of them. It is a way of saying to herself, I am strong enough to bear this. I am strong enough to endure. Her strength is quiet but unyielding, a steady flame that burns even in the fiercest storms. Through her silence, she demonstrates an incredible capacity for self-reliance. While it is human to seek comfort and support from others, she understands that true strength often comes from within. Her silence allows her to rely on her own resources, to trust her instincts, and to find solutions to her challenges without depending on external validation. This self-reliance is not about isolation, but about empowerment. It is a recognition that she has everything she needs within her to face whatever life throws her way. Her strength is also evident in her ability to remain composed in the face of pain. While she may feel deeply, she does not let her emotions control her actions. Her silence becomes a space where she can process her feelings, reflect on her experiences, and respond to her circumstances with clarity and purpose. This composure is not about suppressing her emotions, but about channeling them in a way that serves her growth. Her silence is a form of discipline, a way of ensuring that she remains true to herself even in the most trying times. Yet, her silence is not only about self-preservation, it is also about transformation. She understands that pain has the potential to shape her in powerful ways, and she uses her silence as a space to harness that potential. Rather than allowing her struggles to break her, she lets them refine her. Her strength lies in her ability to turn her pain into wisdom, her challenges into opportunities for growth. Her silence is not an end, but a beginning, a place where she can rebuild herself piece by piece into someone even stronger than before. Her quiet strength is not just for her own benefit. It radiates outward, touching the lives of those around her. Though she may not speak of her struggles, her actions, her presence, and her perseverance inspire others. Her ability to endure with grace shows those who know her that strength is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is found in the quiet moments of resilience, in the silent determination to keep going even when the road is hard. Her silence also reflects her wisdom. She knows that strength is not about pretending to be unaffected or hiding her pain. It is about carrying it with dignity and choosing how to respond to it. She chooses silence not because she lacks words, but because she understands that some experiences are too profound for language to capture. Her silence is a way of honoring the depth of her journey and preserving the sacredness of her process. Her strength is a quiet, unshakable force that defines her. It is not dependent on recognition or praise, but rooted in her own understanding of who she is and what she is capable of. Her silence is her power, a way of standing tall, even in the face of adversity. It is a reminder that strength does not need to be seen or heard to be real. It is in her every breath, her every step, and her every decision to keep moving forward. She is proof that true strength is not loud but enduring, not flashy but steady, and not dependent on others but deeply personal. The woman who carries her pain in silence understands a profound truth. Healing is not always a public spectacle, but often a deeply private journey. For her, silence is not avoidance, but a sacred space where she can tend to her wounds and nurture her spirit. Healing, she knows, is not linear or hurried. It requires patience, self-compassion, and the courage to face her pain with honesty. Her silence becomes the sanctuary where this process unfolds, shielded from the noise and distractions of the world. In the quiet of her heart, she acknowledges her pain without fear. She understands that to heal, she must first confront what she feels, no matter how uncomfortable or overwhelming. Her silence gives her the room to explore her emotions in their entirety, to grieve, to release, and to process without judgment. It is here that she begins to unravel the layers of her pain, seeking the truths hidden beneath the surface. She knows that healing is not about erasing her pain, but about integrating it into her life in a way that allows her to move forward. Her silence is also a way of reclaiming control over her healing. She recognizes that the world is quick to offer opinions, advice, and even judgments about how she should cope or recover. By choosing silence, she protects herself from these external pressures and focuses instead on her own inner wisdom. She knows that no one else can dictate her healing process. It is hers alone to navigate. Her silence is a form of empowerment, a way of asserting her autonomy and trusting in her ability to heal in her own time and her own way. This trust in herself is a cornerstone of her healing journey. While the world might see her silence as a sign of isolation, she knows it is a reflection of her self-reliance. She is not waiting for someone else to rescue her or solve her problems. She is doing the work herself, quietly and steadily. Her silence is not a wall but a cocoon, a space where she can transform her pain into strength and her wounds into wisdom. She knows that healing is an active process, and she is willing to engage with it fully, even if it means doing so alone. In her silence, she also finds the time and space to rediscover herself. Pain has a way of stripping away the layers of who we are, leaving us feeling lost or fragmented. But in her quiet moments, she begins to piece herself back together, not as the person she was before, but as someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. She learns to reconnect with her values, her dreams, and her inner voice. Her silence becomes a canvas on which she can reimagine her life, creating a vision for herself that is rooted in hope and possibility. Her healing is not rushed, nor is it linear. She allows herself to move through it at her own pace, knowing that some days will feel heavier than others. In her silence, she gives herself permission to rest when she needs to feel whatever arises without forcing herself to be okay. She understands that healing is a journey, not a destination, and that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Her silence is her way of honoring this journey, of respecting the ebb and flow of her emotions as she makes her way toward wholeness. Though her healing is a private process, it is not one that isolates her from the world. On the contrary, her silence deepens her connection to others. By doing the work of healing within herself, she becomes a source of quiet strength and inspiration for those around her. She shows that it is possible to endure hardship with grace and to emerge from it with a renewed sense of purpose. Her silence speaks volumes to those who pay attention, offering a reminder that healing is deeply personal but universally powerful. Her silence also allows her to cultivate gratitude and hope. Even in the midst of her pain, she finds moments of beauty and joy, small but significant reminders that life is still worth living. She learns to appreciate the resilience of her spirit, the support of those who care for her, and the promise of a brighter future. These moments of gratitude become the foundation of her healing, giving her the strength to keep going even when the path feels uncertain. Her silence becomes a space where hope can grow quietly but persistently until it fills her with the belief that better days are ahead. Her silence is a testament to her courage and her commitment to herself. It is not a withdrawal from life, but an intentional act of self-care, a way of creating the conditions she needs to heal. She knows that healing is not about forgetting or erasing her pain, but about integrating it into her story in a way that empowers her. In her silence, she finds the strength to heal, the wisdom to grow, and the resilience to carry on. And though the world may not hear her, Her journey is profound and beautiful, a quiet testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome. In the quiet strength of a woman who carries her pain in silence lies a profound story of resilience, courage, and transformation. She teaches us that silence is not an absence, but a space where pain is acknowledged, vulnerability is embraced, and healing begins. Through her quiet endurance, she redefines strength not as a denial of struggle, but as the ability to face it with dignity and grace. Her silence becomes a sanctuary, a tool for self-preservation, and a declaration of autonomy, shielding her from external judgments while allowing her to honor her journey in her own way. Her vulnerability, far from being a weakness, reveals her authenticity and deep humanity. In her silence, she processes her pain, draws strength from within, and emerges with wisdom that inspires others. She understands the delicate balance of protecting her inner world while remaining open to the beauty and challenges of life. Her pain becomes a source of growth, and her silent perseverance transforms it into a quiet power that radiates to those around her. This speech is not merely about her pain, but about the lessons her silence teaches us all. It reminds us to listen more deeply, to recognize the strength in quiet resilience, and to honor the individual paths we each walk. She shows us that silence can be a bridge between suffering and hope, a tool for healing, and a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and thrive. Let her story inspire us to approach our own challenges with the same courage and grace, and to find within ourselves the strength to persevere, even in our most silent moments.